before we get started, of course, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. If you don't have your notifications on, hit that bell thing. Go to your iPhone settings. I'm assuming you have an iPhone. Enable notifications. And, of course, comment below. But we're going to be doing a live chat right now because this is it. What we do, the Ask Ron Live, this is your chance to state your opinion. And I can agree with you and tell you you're the smartest person ever, or argue with you and say, you idiot, and vice versa. You can tell me how dumb I am. But the topic today, I thought of it because I made a Facebook post, or an Instagram post that automatically went to Facebook. Side chest shot of Bumstead that was taken by Gilco Productions. The guy looked amazing. I call him a kid because he's 27 years old, and I have a daughter older than that. 4-time Classic Physique Olympia champion. Now, the whole discussion is kind of a moot point because Chris Bumstead has made it very, very clear he has no interest in going open. However, he even said that as recently as the Victory Gala, the Victory Seminar this past Sunday. But when I made that post, I said, leave Chris alone. All you people who say he should gain 30 to 50 pounds and go open. And I got a lot of responses, a lot of comments on both Instagram and Facebook. I thought this would be interesting to do on live with you guys, my buddies here at Muscular Development YouTube channel. So I want to hear what you think, because even though I know it doesn't matter, Chris is not going to go open. But I was hearing comments like he needs to go open because 100 Classic Physique Olympia titles aren't as good as one Mr. Olympia title. And you know what? I don't know if I agree with that, honestly, because Classic is coming up. Mr. Olympia is still the big main event, the main draw. But Classic's coming on strong, guys. Very, very strong. The two biggest reactions of the entire weekend when they came out on stage were Chris Bumstead at the judging for Classic Physique. The place went bonkers. And Derek Lunsford when he came out on stage at the Mr. Olympia judging that evening. Let me tell you, I know social media following numbers, they're not that important in the grand scheme of things, I suppose, because you have influencers that have millions and millions of followers that don't even compete. But the fact that Chris has 11 million followers on Instagram, he has so many fans around the world, so many young guys, especially, that are inspired by him and fans of his, and they'll buy his supplements, they'll buy his clothing, they'll watch all his videos. He's got a couple million subscribers on YouTube. He's far more popular and financially successful than almost any open bodybuilder in the Mr. Olympia. He's got more followers than the top 5 of the Mr. Olympia combined. I know that's not what we're talking about. Should he go open is really the discussion. Should he go open, gain all that muscle? No, this is just us saying, what should he do? He's not going to do it. But, if you were controlling Chris's life, if you could tell Chris what to do and he had to do it, what do you think he should do? Let's go to the phones, guys, because I see some comments are already in. It's a very good discussion. Chris Bumstead. Okay, so here we go. And our first one, Sean Turner. No, he should not go open. He should be king as long as he can cement legacy and grab all the cash. Yeah, that's another thing. People say, well, open gets more money. He gets, you win Mr. Olympia, you get $400,000. You don't think Chris Bumstead has $400,000 or more? He's co-owner of Raw Revive Nutrition, part owner. I don't know how many owners. There's a few. He owns part of a big supplement company. He's got his own line there, which I'm sure he gets a big chunk of those profits. He's got his own clothing company. He's got his own YouTube channel with millions of subscribers, ads on it. He's got other sponsors. Financially, I would guarantee you, I'd bet you very good money, he's making more money than even Big Ramy or Hadi or any of these guys. I know it's not all about money. Nick, Barrett Fitness, no, he shouldn't. He wouldn't win anyway, so what's the point? I don't think Chris will do it. No, he won't do it. Dean Bond, why is this even a discussion? He doesn't want to. You're in the room and the energy is all over the top. Because there's still people after he won the 4th Classic Physique Olympia title who were saying he needs to go open. This Classic is crap. Classic's like second-class citizen. It's Mr. Olympia is where it's at. He needs to go to the Mr. Olympia. All his accomplishments so far don't mean a thing. Classic Physique is nothing. It's worthless. It's got no credibility, no validity. Oh, I see I got the spinning. Looks like I'm spinning. Hang on. I better wait until I get my Wi-Fi back. I guess it's going on. Dean Bowen, stay in Classic and cement his brand. Yeah. Kevin Clements, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Kevin. Dean Bowen, you and I both have put on 50 pounds of muscle in our lives. It isn't great for the body. Yeah. There's many reasons he's not going to do it, and his health is a major reason, for sure. His health is a major reason because he's got a kidney condition. What's that thing he's got? That disease, Berger's disease. So he's not a moron, Chris. He's a very smart guy. For 27 years old, he's very, very mature and wise for his age. He's not about to risk his health. I mean, he's doing so well right now at competing at 240 pounds, maybe a little less, at 6'1 3/4. He's doing great. Our stuff, I think going open would ruin Chris's brand. I think their influencers are pushing it to ruin the brand. Yeah. I'm live. I see you. Oh, hey, Jen. Oh, okay. You see me, Jen? I just see the spinning circle thing on my phone. It looks fine, but I'm looking on my desktop screen. I see the spinning circle thing. Cardiac arrest. Why isn't anyone talking about the lump on Nick Walker's left glute? I didn't notice it. I mean, Rami had a lump there. I mean, these guys inject gear in their glutes. We know this. I inject gear in my glutes. It's not a surprise. So sometimes you're going to get some inflammation. It's going to be a lump. I mean, if that's the worst thing you can pick apart on Nick, he's doing okay. Because the lump in Big Rami was way worse, says Sean Turner. Yeah, Rami had, it was the same thing. It was a left glute. In the upper corner of his left glute, he had this big lump, almost like a boil, which I'm assuming was from a shot that got inflamed or whatever, a bad reaction. Any of you guys who have been doing gear for a while, it's happened to you. It's happened to all of us. You're lucky if it's on a glute. If it's like on your delt, and you can't wear a tank top for a while because you got this big, angry-looking red lump on your shoulder. IGA Burgers, Dean Bowen says, yeah, that's the condition that Chris was hospitalized for, I think a few weeks before the 2019 Olympia. He was in the hospital for like 3-4 days getting tested and trying to figure out what was going on because he was having this crazy water retention, and it was very frightening. Paul Valentine says, I think he should when he's ready to. Right now he says no interest, and I don't think he ever will. Who knows what he might think or change his mind in, a couple of years' time. He might decide to go open. Who knows? He's a young guy, but I don't think he will. I think Classic is growing. It's becoming very, very prestigious. I mean, think of how popular guys like Ramondino, Urs Kalaczynski, I know Breon. There's a ton of them, but especially like Ramondino, man. Ramondino is one of the most popular athletes in the world right now. The guy who was runner-up in Class Physique from Brazil. Millions and millions of fans and supporters. I'm surprised I haven't seen any dinosaur emojis posted here. I mean, they love the guy. He's got, same thing you could say, why isn't Ramon? Ramon should go Classic. Why? He's doing so well. I mean, he should go open. He's doing so well in Classic. Second at the Arnold. Second here at the Olympia. It's silly to think that open might not always be, light years ahead of other divisions, including Classic. But I think we're getting to that point pretty soon. Wow. Let's see. I'm not sure if I'm losing some of your questions, guys, because what's up, Ron? Gregory Ulisse, where are you, man? I gotta make this thing smaller. Okay, there we go. Say, Gregory Ulisse, saw you in Vegas. Gregory, yeah. What's up, Ron? How are you? Who has a better upside? Samson, Quinton, or Andrew? Happy to talk to you at the Samson placed higher than Andrew at the Olympia. Everyone's high on Andrew, and Andrew's phenomenal. I think Andrew's got tons of potential, but Samson does too. Samson has a beautiful physique. I think a very strong argument could be made that Samson should have been 5th place over Rami. Rami was a hot mess. It's nothing personal. I like the guy a lot. I think he's a gentleman, humble, a gentle giant. I wish him no harm, no ill. I just don't... the way he looked at that Olympia, oof, it was rough. I mean, 5th place, it was warranted. It boggles my mind that there were people that thought he was going to be an easy winner, even after watching the judging. Even though he was kept on the side and never moved to the middle, they thought, well, they didn't need to move him. They always put the winner, even if there's no other comparisons, if they just have him out there once, they always put the eventual winner in the middle. So, I don't know what they were thinking. Okay, now we're back up with the questions. Who are Daniel Peterson? I think Classic is going to be more than Mr. Olympia. I mean, who knows? A couple of years from now? Who knows? Because it's getting more popular. Our stuff. Do you think the Olympia will go global other than Vegas? I know 7 countries represent top 10 open. No, but they're bringing it back to Orlando, Florida next year. And I think it's going to alternate every year. Vegas, Orlando, Vegas, Orlando. It's just easier because the people that put on the Olympia, they're all U.S. based. It would be very, very difficult strategically and financially to move the Olympia somewhere else and have it on that same scale. It's just a lot easier to either have it in Las Vegas or Orlando, where they've done it a couple times already. Well, Vegas, they've done it many, many times. Paul Valentine, great work on Olympic coverage, Ron. Thank you. Keep up the good work. The classic division has breathed new oxygen to the sport, art of bodybuilding. We need to keep the beauty and physique artistry. I agree. I mean, there was, Ramon, Chris, Breon, Urs, Mike Sommerfield, Fabian Mayer. There was some fantastic physiques up there, man. Beautiful physiques. Anyone would want to look like that. B, you think Andrew's potential Mr. O if he fixes hamstring conditioning? Of course. Oh, yeah, Andrew, the sky's the limit as far as Andrew Jack's potential. The guy's 6'2". He's already 290 on stage, and that's, he's only been competing for not even a year. He just started. He turned pro back in March. Here we are December, and he's already top 8. He's been top 8 in the Olympia. First year, and only his 3rd pro show. He won his first 2 pro shows, and then takes 8th at the Olympia. Pretty damn great rookie year for a guy that started the year off as an amateur. I think he needs a little more overall size because his arms and legs are longer. And yeah, the hamstrings, they need to come up to match the quads conditioning. But he's got time. People say, oh, he's so old. He's 36 or 37. Yeah, I mean, not really. If he hasn't been lifting super heavy and competing for years like a lot of these guys that age have, he's really a very young 37. It's not like his body's beat to shit and trashed already. It's not. He's really young in the game. Sean Turner, Ron, look at the images. Samson looks complete, whereas Andrew has a ways to go. Your thoughts? Yeah. Oh, I agree. Right now, Samson Dauda has a much more complete physique. Samson Dauda is much closer to where he needs to be ultimately than Andrew Jack. Now, that doesn't mean, I'm not saying that Andrew's going to get there. It's just he's not there yet. Where he's almost there. Samson still needs to fill out a little bit more. He was actually the heaviest guy in the show. Rami was not 300 pounds. That ended up being a false intel, fake news. I think he was more like 280, 285. It doesn't matter anyway. He didn't look that great at whatever weight he was. But Samson Dauda was in the 290s up there, legit. I think Milos told me he was waking up at like 294, 295 that week, every day. Let's see. Gene Bow and Andrew and Mike Crezo have the most upside age and size. Yeah, Crezo's going to be very good. Crezo's got a lot of potential. Gregory, at least the Kool-Aid was strong with a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, you could say that that's how it always is, because you're looking at the lead up to the show. Like Rami, we saw the holes in his quads in the progress pictures, but he didn't look that bad. He looked pretty good. He was a lot sharper, a lot harder looking in most of the lead up, the pictures in the last couple weeks, even like a month out than what we saw on stage. Something happened. I don't know what happened. Dennis James has posted. He doesn't even know what happened. Rami's very optimistic. He wants to come back. He wants to get his title back. And of course, I understand that. But man, I don't know. If it's nerve damage, as a lot of people seem to think it is, and there's no coming back from that, cut your losses while you still have your health, hopefully. Still a relatively young guy. I mean, he's got millions and millions of fans. He'll always have sponsors. He'll always have people that want to support him and pay for things for him. He'll always have that. So he doesn't need to keep competing. He'll do what he wants. He's a grown-ass man. Jonathan Moore, open is too crowded. Stick to Classic. It's a better class. Classic was more crowded. There were 60 guys, or 59 because Logan Franklin dropped out. There was almost 60 guys in Classic at the Olympia. Wow. 30 in the open. But that's still too many. They need to cut back so it's more elite. Alberto Montejo, no, he should not. Talking about Chris Bumstead, should not go open. 1989, he would not place top 3. Mr. Florida or Mr. California. I disagree with that. 1989, California was won by Flex Wheeler, who at the time was like 190 pounds. Bumstead would have beat that Flex Wheeler who won Mr. California in 1989. I'm just saying. I just happen to know that because I lived in LA from 91 to 2000, and I followed Flex, and I looked at the old videos and stuff. So yeah, he would have showdown at the Arnold, says Jen. Mike Cox, Samson versus Derek coming in 2023. Yeah, Samson's no joke. I rate him very highly. I actually at the gala, the table, I sat with Giles, his girl Lauren, Samson, his girlfriend, and Milos and his wife. And Samson was looking ginormous in a nice dress shirt, but you could still see veins through the dress shirt. It was crazy. You know, a nice button-up. It was a very nice button-up shirt. Paul Vallon, let's see what. Mike Cox, Rami in the same issue. Jay and Ronnie were at the end. Yeah, nerve damage. You know, Ronnie would have kept winning Olympias had he not had those issues where you saw one lat was smaller, one arm, one leg, things, you know. What are you going to do? He still has nerve damage all these years later. He's trying to he's getting stem cell treatments and all this. And, you know, I hope Ronnie is able to walk. He was going around in a scooter at the Olympia. He's been unable to really walk for a couple of years now, and it's pretty sad. I hope he's able to walk again. Paul Valentine, Samson Dowd has the shape, muscle density, and posing artistry. He is a very good poser. Not all of them are. To display his living physique art on the contest stage canvas. With more refinement time, he will be a future Mr. Olympia. I don't know if any of these people will be a future Mr. Olympia. You never know who's going to be Mr. Olympia. I didn't think Hadi Choopan was ever going to win Mr. Olympia. I always thought he'd be like second and third, like over and over and over again. And there'd always be someone like a Rami that just blew him away on, you know, sheer height and width and just overwhelming mass. But shows you what I know. I'm glad. I'm super psyched for Hadi Choopan. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Humble, hardworking. You can tell he's got no ego. He even was brave enough to say something supportive for the women of Iran. And he's going back to Iran. I hope he doesn't get in trouble for that. They've been like arresting and executing even celebrities and athletes over there who speak out against the government. So I hope they don't go after Hadi, the poor guy. Let's see. Dean Bowen. Rami didn't get the benefits that Jay and Ronnie got as a champion. Even Hani and Phil got a pass one year. Yeah. Haney looked pretty bad at the 1989 Olympia in Italy. He was really watery and smooth. In 1990 in Chicago, when they drug tested it, Lee Haney was smaller. He was very soft. He almost got beat by Lee Labrada, who was, 50, 60 pounds lighter. Yeah, in the past, I think the judging is a lot more fair. They're not just giving it to people because they're the champ, and they're not. If the judging was the way it used to be, they would have given it to Lunsford because he's all-American, blue eyes, Christian values, great spokesperson, great ambassador, instead of Hadi. He's from this country over in the Middle East, doesn't speak English, he's hearing impaired, he doesn't have like a movie star face. Didn't matter. It was all, they judged the best physiques, Hadi had the best physique, according to the judges. I guarantee you in the old days, they would have given it to Derek, and Hadi might have been like even lower, because marketability and shit like that used to factor in. The judging used to be pretty friggin' corrupt. Back in the Wayne DeMilia days, and even before that, they fixed shows all the time. They picked who they wanted based on marketability and different things like that. It's not like that anymore. The judging is much better now. So that's why when people complain about the judging, like, you guys should have been around back in the day, man. Judging, shady as F back in the day. Horrible. Let's see. Don Papi. Why would he want to do that? Talking about Bumstead. Risk his health. He's Mr. O in his category. He's already rich. Going open requires a major change in his training and PED intake. Doesn't happen that easy. Yeah, he won't do it. And the people that they say he should, it's just for their own greedy, desires to see what he would look like with 40 pounds more muscle or whatever. They want to see that. We're never going to see that. I don't think we're ever going to see it, and that's okay. I think he looks great the way he is. He'd look great bigger, too. I don't think he'd lose his shape or anything like that, but he's doing great where he is. He's doing great. He's the world champion 4 years in a row, 27 years old, makes an awesome living. Why would he? It ain't broke. Why would he change what he's doing? No way. Let's see. No idea there were 60 guys in the Classic? Yeah, Jonathan. It was packed. And there were a ton of guys. I watched the whole judging. There were a ton of guys. They looked awesome, and they got like 4th, 5th call out, as I knew would happen. And, they all went on Instagram, and they were like, didn't know what the hell happened. Well, there was just too many of you. You all look great, and there was a bunch of you. That's what happened. You can't all win. It's rough. Sean Turner, Rob, what are your thoughts on increasing the weight limit for Classic? It was reported Ramondino and Terrence Ruffin had trouble making weight. Yeah, they did. I don't think so. Let's leave it alone. Leave the weight where it is. If they really can't make the weight, they can just leave Classic and go to 212 or open or whatever. But the height and weight limits are there for a reason. It's to keep a certain look. If you keep bumping them up, like what's the point of even having it? If they just want to keep getting bigger and bigger, they would just keep asking for more and more. Like you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. You ever hear that? Let's see. Mike Cox, Hani Rambat has proven he is the best in the biz. Yeah, Hani now has helped 22 people, some of the same people multiple times. He's had 22 Olympia titles to his credit. He's helped people win Olympias 22 times. Yeah, no one even comes close to that. Not even close. Tommy Williams, insulin has really knocked down the condition of today's bodybuilders. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of guys that had that big, full look, but they weren't really dry and detailed and grainy. I agree. We don't see much of that anymore. I thought Hadi had that look, though, for sure. Zach Plotkin, yeah, for sure. Derek or Nick had it this year because of that. We're sure, yeah, for marketability, I mean, who'd make a better, quote-unquote, better Mr. Olympia as far as they can do all kinds of press and interviews and be a great spokesperson? Obviously, Nick Walker would do a great job. Derek Lunsford would do a great job. Hadi's probably not going to do a great job at that. He's going to do a great job of continuing to improve his physique and maybe keep winning Olympias. I don't know if he will or not keep winning, but I don't think he's going to be a great quote-unquote ambassador. He's not going to learn English. His hearing impairment's not going to go away, but you know what? I don't know. Well, I'm kind of torn because I always felt, well, Mr. Olympia should be kind of an ambassador. Like Arnold used to go on talk shows. Even like Lee Haney used to go on TV and stuff, but we're not going to hear anything from Hadi Choopan. He can't do interviews in English. He doesn't speak any English. And not many people speak Farsi. Honey Rambo. Could Chris beat Troy Zucolato 1989 Nationals? Wow, Alberto. What an obscure reference. Yeah, Troy Zucolato, with all due respect, Troy, who now owns TRT clinics out in California. He's doing very well. Don't worry about Troy. But nah, I think Chris would have beat him. Even though he was smaller, way better shape, better condition. You know, Troy was good in his day, but I still like Bumstead. Mike Cox, Wayne was awful. He's talking about Wayne D'Amelia. The results of the 97-0 were changed after the show. Yeah. Do you guys know that? The 1997 Olympia, which was the last one during H1, it was in Long Beach, California. They did the top six announcements at the show. And then at the banquet, a couple hours later, Wayne went around and said, oh, sorry, guys. I don't know I forget which placings were changed, but he changed a few of the places for their own nefarious purposes and tried to say, oh, it was a calculation, a math error. Really? It's not like they were doing quantum physics math up there. It's simple adding up points of 7 judges. How freaking hard can that be? We had calculators in 1997, guys. It's not like you had an abacus, so he was full of it. Do you have any Wayne D'Amelia story? I remember this isn't just Wayne, but I remember Dennis Newman was a nationals champion, but then he got cancer, he got leukemia. So I was working for American Sports Network, Lou's Wick at the time. We were covering the Olympia, but we helped orchestrate. I don't want to say we. I didn't personally have anything to do with it, but they arranged for Dennis to run down the aisle in his posing trunks while the guys were being judged on stage, prejudging for the Mr. Olympia. He started hitting poses because Wayne wouldn't let him compete. He wouldn't let him compete, period, because he had leukemia and they didn't want the liability of, okay, well, this guy, he's already almost died. Now, what if he comes back and competes and he dies? Then it's going to make us look bad. So we had the foresight, but I had the headset on. I could hear Wayne. I could hear a bunch of people, and he went livid. He went so mad. They were going to run back to the TV truck, these big 18-wheeler trucks where they switch ESPN. It was ESPN. That's where they do the switching. There's like a little, what do you call that? Little control room where they're controlling, take camera 1, camera 2, close up, shit like that. They went storming back there, and they're going to beat up Lou. I think that he locked the door so they couldn't beat him up. Sean Turner, Ron, if Rami would have brought the same package last year as your main champ, yeah, I think he would have. If he had showed up like he looked even the year before, 2020 version, 2021 version, that's all he had to do. We thought he was going to be better. I thought he was going to be better. In those freaking progress pictures, he looked pretty damn great, didn't he? We all drank the Kool-Aid. And, he was probably looking real good up until a certain point. I don't know when that issue happened with his back and his tricep. I don't know. Man, so many questions. Zach Plotkin, what do you think about the lower back conditioning some people brought up? You mean like lack of lower back conditioning? Yeah, I mean, I like to see a real crisp, dry Christmas tree. I mean, that's like that's something we used to see with like Dorian Yates. Sorry, I need to drink some water. We used to see that in Ronnie, Dorian, Phil Heath. You know, it's a good indication. Glutes and lower back, that real crisp Christmas tree. If you've gotten all the fat off those two areas, you're shredded. You're done. Truth one, he can't go to open. He's got that autoimmune disorder. More gear and weight gain will only jeopardize health even more. Yeah, I know. I've discussed it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, he's not going to, and I don't personally, even if Chris was like pondering it in his head, if I were his dad. By the way, I met his dad, Jeff Bumstead. Cool guy. What a nice guy. You can see where Chris gets his values and his, he's a good good people don't happen by accident. They're typically raised well by good parents usually. And Jeff Bumstead, cool dude, cool guy. Yeah, Paul Valentine. Yeah, I've been in the sport for almost 3 decades. The judging under Steve Weinberg is simply terrific. I love the consistency in all divisions and the transparency. Yeah, and another thing, Paul, is Steve gives everyone a chance to he'll move people around over and over again. So everybody gets to be in the center. Everybody gets to be on either side. So it's not like you can say, well, the judges on this side never got a good look at me, or I never got to stand next to so-and-so. Steve tries to make sure everyone gets good comparison. Now, with 30 guys in the show, everybody can't be compared to everybody. We'd still be there in Vegas right now, but he does the best he can, especially under the time constraints. Because, I mean, think about the pressure they were under Friday night. You had already had figure, women's physique, women's bodybuilding, wellness. It was going on and on and on. The guys didn't get on stage till like 11. And still, that's the main event everyone's waiting for is the Mr. Olympia judging. So they had to be fresh and on their toes at 11 o'clock at night after going through a couple hundred athletes already. So props to the judges, man. What a thankless task. Greg Ulysse, my man in Montreal. Could you see Derek do the Arnolds? I don't think he will. I think, he's running up at the Olympia now. He's qualified. He doesn't need to do a damn thing. Why would he do the Arnold? He wants the Olympia title. Selfishly, as fans, we want to see all the best guys in every show, but they need to give their bodies a break. The Arnold's coming right up in March. Jeez, it's the first weekend in March, so they don't even have 3 months left. They have like 2.5 months to get ready for the Arnold, if that. They haven't even released the list yet for the Arnold. I'm waiting on that. But yeah, he'd have to turn around and keep prepping, and he wants to take a break, have another good off season, and come back and win the Olympia next year. I'm sure that's the plan. I haven't seen him announce it because he was going to do it on Hani's podcast. Samson 12321. Sean Turner. Rami's suffering some sort of nerve issue. His loss is not his fault. Yeah, I don't think Rami did anything wrong. I don't think he didn't diet hard enough or train hard enough. I don't think it was any lack of effort or discipline or anything like that. I think Rami did everything he could. And I think Chad did everything he could as his coach, and Dennis James. I think they all put in the work, and things just did not go right with his body. Shit happens. The human body is precarious. So many variables. And if you have injury situations like a nerve injury, that's totally out of everyone's control. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if it's a nerve injury. I don't know what happened. I don't know if Rami even really knows. That would take a full medical workup, MRIs, all that stuff. I hope he gets all that done, because maybe these are issues that can be resolved. Maybe they're not, but he needs to get them fixed, because if he comes back looking like that again, he might fall even further down, 6th, 7th, 8th place, which would be kind of a slap in the face for a 2-time Olympia champ. Let's just held for review. Some obscene comments that they were being held for review. Samson, Rami did not speak English in the beginning. Now he holds conversation in a clear, understandable. Oh, Rami's English has gotten so much better. I remember the morning after 2013 New York Pro, which is first pro show, his first win. We were at the Millennium Hilton, the host hotel, at breakfast the next day, and I went up to congratulate him, and I think the only English he knew was hello and thank you. And he's learned, he can hold really good conversations now. I don't speak Arabic, so I take my hat off to him for learning English. Cardiac arrest. 83 was the worst Olympia with worst winner. So that was Samir Bannout in Munich, Germany. A lot of people would argue with you that 1981, Franco Columbu was the worst Mr. Olympia win of all time. His legs were way down in size. They were smooth. He had torn a quad with like a refrigerator on his back doing World's Strongest Man competition on ABC Sports. True story. Look it up. His legs were crap, Franco, that year. And like Chris Dickerson, Frank Zane, Tom Platz. I think, was Tom Platz second that year? There were a few guys, Danny Padilla. There were a few guys in the lineup that were in the top 5 in 1981 that all deserved to beat Franco that year. God rest his soul, Franco. I'm not speaking ill of the dead. This is just a very poor decision. And like I said, there was a lot of fuckery back in the day with the judging. There was a lot of shady shit. People were winning shows based on who they were, based on sponsors or whatever. It's not like that anymore. It's really not. The judging is so much more fair and transparent now. I'm not saying they get it right 100% of the time, but they get it right most of the time. And I don't think politics come into play very often at all. Maybe once in a while, but very rarely. Where back in the day, that was kind of like the rule rather than the exception. Like I remember there was Olympia, the 72 Olympia, Arnold beat Sergio Oliva in 1972. That was also in Munich. And most people looking at the picture said Sergio should have won that. The excuse the judges gave Sergio for why he didn't win was because he was too dark and the black backdrop, they couldn't see his muscles or something. He didn't look right against the backdrop, so that's why they gave it to Arnold. I mean, how much more of a bullshit explanation can you possibly have than that? So anyone, like I said, if you want to complain about the judging now, dude, that's like complaining about women's rights now versus the way they were in like 1860 or something, okay? Poor example, maybe? I don't know. Probably. DJ Leader. C-Bum is perfect right where he is. Yep. Crazy physique. Financially incredibly successful. Adored by millions. 2 more classic titles. Then retire at 30. Well, let's see. He's 27. He doesn't turn 28 until February of 2023. So next year's Olympia, he'll be 29. Yeah, you're right. No, next year's Olympia, he'll be 28, then 29, then 30. So he could win 3 more before he's 30. Yeah, that's right. 27, 28, 29. Wait, is my math way off as usual? 27, so he could win another Olympia at 28, 29, 30. Yeah, he could win 3 more before he's past the age of 30. And they could retire at 30 with 6 wins. Imagine that. Lee Haney retired with 8 wins at 31. Yeah, true story. Look it up. Hacking Life. Oh, God. Penis gains from injecting. Don't do that. Don't stick any needles in your penis, guys. Not a good idea. Mike Cox, you ever consider writing a book on your time in bodybuilding? Yeah, Mike, but if I do that, it's after I'm not working. I wouldn't be able to face everybody anymore because I'd have to spill the beans and some dirt and people wouldn't like it. Trust me. Still getting over, I think I had bronchitis. I was hacking up. Like, if you notice in the wrap-ups at the Olympia, I was coughing a lot. I was trying not to, but what can you do? It's almost gone. But, man, I've been dealing with this since before Thanksgiving. Let's see. Greg Ulisse, I remember that moment well. Dennis Superman Newman. Yeah, when Dennis Newman came down the aisles in his posing trunks at the Olympia, even though he wasn't a competitor in the Olympia, it was like making a statement like, here I am, and I don't know. They won't let me compete. Well, you had leukemia, dude, so you probably shouldn't be back on a bunch of gear and competing anyway. Yeah. Mark, I remember 2007 how literally the whole crowd and every expert had Martinez winning. I don't know if nowadays this would happen. I don't think it would. Yeah, I think if Mr. Olympia is off now, he loses. It's so close, and nobody's that dominant. Ramy was a great champion. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan of Ramy's physique, but I'm not a hater. I agree that he was the best physique on stage in terms of what the criteria is, and I have no problem with him winning the last 2 years. This was not that Ramy. This Ramy was 5th place. And that's what he deserved. Sean Turner, at Greg Ulisse, I met Dennis and Kevin Leverone at Little Creek Amphibian Base in Virginia. He was super nice. Yeah. Oh, Kevin's cool. I just did a show with Kevin. I think we're going to put it out Friday. His impressions of the Olympia. Because he was actually backstage. He was doing all the commentary for the 212 And then he was hanging out. He said he was like right on the edge of the stage, right behind MC Bob Chiccarello, watching the show and the monitors there. But yeah, that's a Kevin Leveroni report. I don't know, Jen. You want to put that out Friday? I think Friday would be fine. Yeah. See, you're hearing us talk about what videos we're going to put up in real time. Let's see. Samson again. At Sean Turner, yes. So I'm not sure what happened to him, Ian, and Hunter all developing the same issue all at the same time. Diuretics, even in Toronto, was a great day before looking deflated. I don't think diuretics can make you lose your lower lats, like atrophy of muscle. I saw Trigili's video with the before and after showing Ian Valier what happened with his back. It's puzzling to me. I don't know if Ian knows what happened. I'm curious to know what caused that, because his lower lats were like atrophied and mushy looking. Something happened. Yeah, there was a lot of issues with people's lower lats at this year's show. Strange. Peter Tomstone. However, if Clarida was in the open, where would he have placed, do you think? Would he have beaten Rami? I don't know. I asked Kevin Leveroni. Kevin said he thought Clarida would have won the whole show. I don't think, I wouldn't go that far. I don't think he was beating like Hadi or Derek. Not the way Derek looked. But 5th or 6th, I don't think would be unreasonable. You know, that's still, like he would have beat, I think he would have beat Hunter, for she was in way better condition. I don't know if he would have beat Samson. I don't know. Let's say top 6, play it safe. He wouldn't have won. He wouldn't have, I don't think he was beating Hadi or Derek. Maybe, I don't think he was beating Nick. Nick's just a big freak, man. I don't know. We'll never know. Maybe he'll do the Open next show. We'll find out, but I doubt it. I think he wants to keep winning 212 titles for as long as he can. Direction. Chris DePatria, any idea what the big knot was on Rami's upper left glute cyst? I assume it was from, I don't know for sure. I'm just assuming it was like a inflammation from a gear shot. That's my best guess. I mean, what cyst? Why would he just develop a random cyst in the same place where we all inject our gear? Igor Linares. Braun, based on what you saw in person, do you think Ramon would have potential in the open category? Full round muscle and small waist. Ramon would need a lot more size, but if he could keep those same proportions and that shape and put a lot more size on, I'm talking like at least like 20, 30 pounds. Let's play it safe. So let's say 25, split the difference. Yeah, I think he would do well in open because, I mean, he's got very nice shape. You got someone like Rafael Brandao, who's like 250 on stage. Rafael made top 10, which is pretty damn good. Top 10 in the world, especially with 30 guys in the show. He beat 20 people. Yeah, I mean, what's Ramon weigh on stage now? What's he, like 220, something like that? He's not as tall as Chris. So I think his weight cutoff is a little lower. Sure, A2 is a joke. Still see it. Cardiac arrest. Actually, right, A2 is a joke, but Samir did suck as well. I don't know. I like Samir's physique. I mean, who would you have beaten him that year? Who should have won? 1983. That was another year with like Platts, I think Bertil Fox. Dickerson was probably in it. Was Zane still around? I don't know. I thought Samir looked great. That was the year Samir really nailed it. Condition was great. He was the first one to show a really, really clear Christmas tree. Others had shown like blurry Christmas trees. He made the Christmas tree famous, Samir Bannout, with his back shots that year at the 83 Olympia. Gregory Elise, the best man, won this year. Yeah. Are you a mod, Gregory? Is that why the MD thing's there? Is that what that means, Jen? I mean, that's great. If you're holding all these messages for review that are nonsense, good. Thank you. The old man, 63. What happened to Blessing? What does he need to work on to improve his standings next year? So he was flat. I saw him in the elevator, and he was pretty bummed out. He said the same thing happened in 2020. He was flat. He was flat, a little depleted looking, but it's his legs. He needs more legs. They're not awful. They're getting better, but they still don't match his upper body. He's got crazy wide shoulders, wide back, great back. His front double bicep is a great shot. His front lat spread, but the legs just don't. He needs more overall size, more sweep. When he gets that, he's going to be scary. He won 2 shows. He won the Indy Pro and New York Pro this year, but those weren't the Olympia. And, the guys that beat him this year weren't in the Olympia. I'm sorry, they weren't in those shows. So yeah, he's a work in progress. Christian Bikonovsky. What do you think Breon will place in 212? Well, Breon's going to need to pack on some size. I don't know. It's curious. He's 180 pounds. He's been 180 pounds this whole time. The last few years, that's been his weight cap. He's about 5'6", I want to say. He's going to need another 20 pounds, easy. Put a picture of Breon next to like a Clarida or an Angel Calderon, and you see they're so much thicker and more massive. But, Breon has been holding back. He's been restricting his body from growing, not eating as much, other aspects, who knows. But I'm saying he's intentionally been keeping his weight down, keeping his size down, because he knows whatever he gains, he's just going to have to lose anyway. But now that the brakes are off and he can get as big as he wants, we'll see. I'm a big fan. I love Breon's physique. And I like Breon. He's a cool guy. I hope he does very well in the 212. He is going to need a lot more mass. So it remains to be seen what he can do. We'll find out. Sergio de Michel. Maybe I'm wrong, but Bumstead doesn't seem to be inclined to increase PDs, the level required to get to the muscle. Yeah, he's not. He has no interest in it. I said at the beginning, Chris is not going open. He has no interest. He's not going to do it. But, fans, we're fans, and these are just things we talk about. We're not making decisions for Chris. Chris is going to do what he wants to do, and he's been making some pretty good decisions right now, thus far, I should say. I mean, look at this. 27 years old. He's got 4 Olympia titles, millions and millions of fans. People love him, adore him, look up to him, respect him, admire him. Business-wise, he's co-owner of a pretty successful part owner of a successful supplement company, Raw Revive. Yeah, Chris is doing great, so don't worry about Chris. He's very successful. He deserves every bit of that success. Alberto Montejo. Bodybuilding's gotten larger in Brazil than the United States. 1.5 million views, 2022 live stream. Yeah, Brazilian fans are very, very loyal. They're very passionate. It's cool because you can hear them rooting for their favorites at the shows. Like I remember Wellness last year it was the first Wellness Olympia, and like this year 3 out of the top 5 or 4 of the top 5 were from Brazil. I think it was the same last year. And man, there was a couple hundred Brazilians who had traveled up from Brazil to watch the show in Orlando last year, and they were going bonkers. So much support, so much love they give to their favorite athletes. It's a lot of other countries are more passionate about bodybuilding and more supportive of the athletes than the U.S. I mean, Rami when he goes home to Egypt, like last couple of years after winning Olympia, there's like 100,000 people at the airport waiting to meet him and cheering, and there's parades in the streets, and they named a square in Alexandria, Egypt after him. And Hadi Choopan has a statue of him in Iran, I mean, like that Rocky statue. The Rocky statue? There's a Hadi Choopan statue of him hitting a double bicep. I don't know if it's Tehran or where in Iran, but you think we would have a statue of one of our guys here in the USA? No, never. Smash the likes, folks. Thank you, Sean. Yes, smash the likes. Paul Valentine, judging is so good. Judges don't let reputations influence their scores. They judge what's in front of them when they're judging. Great consistency and transparency by Steve, Tyler, and Sandy. And you know what? Like I said, it's a thankless task. The only people who are ever happy with the judges are the winners and their fans. Everyone else think that judges screwed over so-and-so and politics, and judges are blind and they're idiots. And, like I said, it was actually, I think, Wayne DeMelia. I got to give him credit because I think he's the one who said the only people happy with the judges at the end of the show is the winners, the guy who won. Everyone else is like, judging. Kettle won 4 wheels. In your opinion, who's the freakiest person on stage this year? Wow. Man, that's a great question. I'd probably go with either Nick Walker or Michael Krizo. They were freaking freaks. Krizo, when he hits that crab most muscular, geez, it's like a giant wall of muscle. There's so much mass. His traps, his delts, his arms, his chest. Krizo's going to be good. Yeah, that's a freak. And Nick Walker, geez. Obviously, he brought the freak factor. And, I think his fans, I know they're upset, 3rd place, but think about this. Nick Walker beat everybody who beat him last year at the Olympia except for Hadi Choopan. And he beat 2 Mr. Olympia champions. He beat the reigning and 2-time champ, and he beat Brandon Curry. He moved up from 5th to 3rd. So Nick Walker, he's on the rise. He did great. I don't think that should be his. He should be, talked about as being failing in any way. I think Nick Walker did a tremendous job. And I hope he's proud of himself. I hope he's not, angry or upset. Let's see. 9, Drama Sidal, 6, Scott hit 9. Chris weakness will be exposed if he went to open. Yeah, I mean, his arms look great in some shots, like the side chest. His frontal bicep, you can see his biceps are lacking. That would be a liability in the open because some of these guys have crazy arms in the open. Crazy. So, yeah. But he's not going open, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Mike Cox, you think they would give Clarida a special invite? If he asked for it, maybe, but I don't think he's going to ask for it. I think he just wants to keep winning 212. It's like that's his domain. That's where he's going to make a legacy in 212. I don't think he would be winning the Open Olympia. He could crack top 5 for sure. I think he's capable of doing that, but I don't see Sean capable of winning the Mr. Olympia. But then again, I didn't think Hadi Choopan ever would either. So I've been wrong before about 10 billion times. Krista Patriot, what's your thought on Krizo's physique? Krizo's back is not as bad as I thought it was. Once I saw him in person, I was like, his back's not that bad. It's not awesome, but it just needs to be a little better. It's not like he's got no back. His color sucked. His tanning was awful. Awful. It was like, I don't know, orange, greenish, yellow. It just didn't look right. It wasn't dark enough, and the tint, the shade was weird. If he fixes that, and his condition could have been a little better, and more back thickness and detail, he's moving way up. Natalia Coelho is the best. Agreed, yeah. Congratulations, Natalia. What, she 26 now? 25, 26? Turned pro at like 17 or something. Yeah, she's been plugging away at this. Very hard worker. Always stays positive. Totally dedicated to her craft. So congratulations, Natalia. Well-earned victory over 2-time reigning champ Sarah Villegas. Natalia brought the condition 100%. Sarah was a little bit off what we've seen from her. For whatever reason. No, that was just Marcos Hadar is just answering the question in the should Bumstead go open? No. How many judges were there for the 3? No, I think there's 7. There's never just 3. I'm sorry, my throat's getting like super dry, guys. Yeah, there's never just 3 judges. There's usually 7. And the score sheets are up on ifbbpro.com if you guys want to check out the scores. KK, it would be great if Clarida does Arnold in open category. Yeah, since they don't have a 212. Just to see how he compares to some of the best bodybuilders in open category. Right, because we saw him at the Legion. We saw him up against guys like Regan Grimes and Sergio Oliva Jr. We've really never seen him up against guys, open competitors at the Olympia level, like say Brandon and Bonac. Say they do it again. Say a couple of these other guys do it again. It'd be curious to see how he compares to the top open guys. Because Sergio and Regan, very good, but they're not, I wouldn't consider them like the upper tier pros in the open at this point in time. They haven't really proven themselves to be, upper Olympia caliber guys yet. I think Sean is going open, says JR. Maybe he will, but I think he just wants to keep winning 212 titles. Truth One, thoughts on Dr. Sonny Andrews' bad flute? That's how iPhones correct glute. They turn it into flute. Injections in her showing at this year's Olympia. I don't even know how she did at the, how'd she do? Was she second? I'm sorry I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention for wellness, guys. I'm sorry. I can't remember what I was doing at the time. I had to be doing something else. I saw her glutes, and there's a couple other glutes that I thought looked very suspicious, like there was some substance in them. In a division where one body part is so central, I could see why there would be the temptation to enhance it, either through surgery or injections or something. And, it's up to the judges. If the judges think it looks really unnatural and distracting, then they're gonna start marking these women down. I did think it looked kind of odd, and there was a couple others. She wasn't the only one. I don't think she should be singled out. There were a couple women in that lineup in wellness that had very suspicious looking glutes. They're gonna eventually, if it gets bad enough, if the glutes keep getting stranger and more unnatural looking, they're gonna have to clamp down on it. Let's see. I think Sean open glute, yeah. Yeah, iPhones don't let you just write glued. It's immediately autocorrects it. Like the F word becomes ducking instead of, yeah. Our stuff. To play the band Triumph and wear a mustache. That's who did, what's that song? Lay It on the Line? Was that the song? It was from the 70s or 80s. I want to say that was an 80s song, right? Triumph. I was hearing that. I'm like, how does he even know this song? That is old. That's like when I was a kid, that song. Lay it on. Yeah. To wear a mustache is something few would do. Bumstead has guts and can't wait to see what he does next. Yeah. And I'm glad he got rid of that faux hawk, the mullet looking thing. I mean, it was all right, but I'm glad he got changed that. Cesar Guaido, 25, I guess. I think she's talking about Natalia. Yeah, I think she's only 25. So congrats to her. Bright, bright future for Natalia. Samson, 12321. I don't understand why these very pale competitors do not tan naturally on tanning booth. Giles spoke of Carrizo and described him as white as a sheet. I remember Dorian was the same way. I remember seeing Dorian like arrive at the Olympia, you know, because I used to go to the Olympias even back then, and I'd see him show up, and he was still pale, very white. He would look fine tanned up, but I mean, in the early years, he had issues with his tan. He looked very strange. At his first pro show, the Night of Champions in 1990, he was like green looking from some old shit that we had called Dioderm before Pro-Tan. Yeah. So Carrizo needs to fix that. I don't know why they don't want to tan naturally, get a base tan. I always did. You know, I'm pretty white, obviously. I feel like it helps. It helps tighten up the skin. You know, maybe they just want to avoid sun damage, skin damage. Because every time we tan, it's damaging our skin. I mean, my skin's, it's probably so screwed up right now. You know, I'm lucky I never got skin cancer so far. Hopefully I never do. But yeah, maybe they're just protecting their skin. That's the only thing I can think of. Thanks, Ryan, for being the one of the most nicest and genuine guy sport. You're welcome, Mark. Thank you very much for that, saying that. Ruben Von Verde. There was almost a fight between Bonek and Hadi in the pose down round. Did you see that, Ron? I don't think it was a fight, but yeah. Things can get heated up there. You know, these guys all want to win, and that's if they feel like someone's trying to edge them out of the way. Yeah, it's tempers can flare. But no, it wasn't a fight. It wasn't anything like when years back when Kai Green's he whipped his hair braid around and smacked Phil Heath on stage with his hair braid. You guys remember that? That was that was a very aggressive move on Kai's part. Paul Valentine. I competed with Sean Clarida and the late great George the Bull Peterson at the World Natural Bodybuilding Championships. Clarida took out the bantamweight, less than 135 pounds. George and I made finals, top 5. Yeah, I met him shortly after that. At the late Bob Bonham Strong and Shapely Gym in New Jersey. And I'm sure other people would have told him this, but I remember telling Sean, who was in the WNBF at the time, I said, you should go to like NPC, do the Nationals. Bantamweight, I'm pretty sure you get your pro card. I've seen the bantamweights every year, and I think you'd beat them. And he's like, yeah, you think? And I think it only took him 2 tries, but he got it. He got his pro card, and then he started growing, and look where he is now. Yeah. Truth One, Dr. Sonny Andrews was in 3rd callouts, LOL. Well, okay. Well, there you go. Then they punished her. They punished her for their, I'm just putting my opinion out here. If she was in 3rd callout and she's one of the top women in wellness, which I believe she is, that was sending a message that we're not gonna reward this artificially enhanced glute look. So there you go. The judges already took care of it. That's typically what happens. Like people say, well, what are they going to do about synthol and big guts? Well, they usually they won't call you out first with the people who are going to place very well. They'll usually give you 2nd, 3rd call out and you're not going to win. That's what they do. It's easier than saying disqualifying someone. Just put them in the last call out. JR, Hadi, Honey, and Weiber on with Tarek tonight at 5. Who's watching? It's 5 now, so I guess you'd have to be watching. Yeah, Olympia TV gets the inside track on the best guests because they're the official people. More characters with a mix. I'm really confused as to why guys like Ian start with full back and calves and now they're gone. It's crazy to see that guys like Ian train harder and get worse. Yeah, I mean Ian looked pretty damn great last year. What did he win this year? Vancouver. He looked pretty damn great there, and then something happened to his back. I don't know. Curious. I'd like to know what happened to his back. I'm sure he's pretty transparent, Ian. So he'll let people know on social media or Fuad's podcast or something. Paul Valentin of the middleweight, under 179. George placed 5th. That was 15 years ago. These two achieved such great heights in the FPB Pro League. Yeah, I didn't even know that George Peterson III, the bull, the late George, I didn't know he did WNBF. Huh. Alberto Montejo, Leo Stronda, 22 Olympia issues. 1.4 million views YouTube in 24 hours. Wow. Brazil Olympia TV under 500 views. Go figure. So Leo Stronda has clearly much better skills on YouTube as far as getting views. Water visuals. Do you agree with Ursa's placement? Yeah. 3rd place was exactly where he should have been. I think that was a fair call. Urs needs more upper body. Legs are awesome. Condition was great. Great posing. You know, Urs is so good for the sport. He's got that smile. He's just so happy, full of joy, full of passion for the sport. You can see he really loves what he's doing. He's so appreciative of being up there on that Olympia stage. So, but 3rd place in the world, come on, it's not bad. And he's moved up from 4th last year. So maybe he'll do the Arnold and win that. Mark says, I thought Hadi's shoulders looked better than last. Oh yeah, last year Hadi's shoulders were jacked up. They were all shot up. This year, they stopped putting stuff in his shoulders because they were nice and striated, detailed like they should be. He didn't fix the problem 100%, but it's less noticeable. Cesar Guarido, I think Hunter had something going on with his lower lats too, just like Ian and Rami, yeah. I don't know what the heck. Ahmad Ifat, did you see the video that Rami posted? I didn't watch. I know he put up one where he was saying he was coming back next year. And like I said, I wish him nothing but the best. And I hope whatever issues he has can be fixed. I'd love to see him come back and win. He's a very nice guy. I think he's a wonderful person. You know, I wasn't happy that he lost. People think I'm a Rami hater. I don't hate any of these guys. I mean, I'm not like a fanboy of anyone either. I respect and admire all these athletes because I know what they go through. You know, I competed for many years. I know that the dieting is not easy. I know this sport doesn't have the financial rewards of most other professional sports. You know, these guys, they put their heart and soul into this for a lot less reward than people in sports like soccer, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, on and on and on. Let's see, more characters with a mix. We think about Ramon's crucifix pose and transitioning into twisting back double bicep. He's a great poser and he's got a great physique. I'm not sure what else you want me to say. Cesar Guarido, Brandao is a 2.0 Bob Paris, hoping to crack top 6 next year. Yeah, he just needs a little more size. Rafael's got a beautiful physique, beautiful. Just not quite enough size to really push the top guys, but with a little more size, he will. He's got everything else. Condition, shape, everything. Bradford McDermott, no. C-Bum will lose aesthetics. Yeah, also keep in mind his disorder. He has open, could really hurt his health. Agreed. John Young, what happened to Logan Franklin? He stated he was sick, where other competitors announced they were sick, still did the show. I think he was so sick he physically couldn't or felt it was not wise to continue doing the show. I believe his stomach was really rebelling against him. You know, I did talk to Milos a little bit about it, but that was a private conversation. But suffice to say that they both agreed physically the way he was feeling, it would not have been smart to go on stage where he might have like passed out on stage or worse. Who knows? So we don't need that, and he doesn't need that. He's got a beautiful wife, great young son. We need Logan. Logan wants to be around for a long time, and I'm sure he's heartbroken. It must have. I can't imagine prepping more than a year because he qualified for this last November by winning that Sean Ray Classic. I can't imagine going all that time focusing on this one show that was over a year away, and then this happens at the last minute. Poor guy, you know, my heart goes out to him. Let's see. More characters. Caesar agreed. Ian, Hunter, Rami are experiencing a lower back loss. I was shocked to see how huge Ian's calves were when he turned pro. Doesn't make sense. Cesar Garcido. It's not about hating, it's about speaking what you see. You know, people, criticism, it's just criticism. It's never personal. If I'm talking about a guy's physique, I'm not talking about his personality. I respect all these guys, believe me. Paul Valentine. Are Phil Heath and Kai coming back? I don't think Kai's coming back. I did an Expo interview. It's on this channel. And I directly asked Kai, Masters Olympia, you're going to do it? And he was like, so I would say no. Phil is not old enough. I think if he comes back, he would want to do the Masters Olympia. He just turned 42 or 43. He just turned 43, so he can do it in a couple of years because you have to be 45 to the Masters Olympia as a bodybuilder. Women's bodybuilding, 212 and open, you have to be 45. All other divisions, you just need to be 40. Paul Valentine, you're doing a great job, Ron. I've still got many of the MD magazines you wrote articles in. Thank you. You're an excellent writer of the sport. Now you're doing an excellent job. I still write for the magazine. We still have a magazine, and I still do most of the writing for it. I do most of the features. Giles Thomas, I asked him to take a feature here and there to help me out. And I also like to see other writers in the magazine, like Giles. Giles is a very good writer. I like reading his stuff. So, yeah. Let's see. Cesar Guadillo, man, I hope Brandon Curry go back to the top ranks. Loved his look, but I see the detail wasn't there. Yeah, he needs to go back to the look he had when he won. He was bigger and fuller and round and popping and all this, but the condition was just not there. More characters mixed. Maybe Dexter had it right. He said several times, no one needs to change train the older they get. Oh, one needs to change train, yeah. Less heavyweights and more machine work. Apart from some guys, Dexter never lost body parts. Yeah, he never had an injury either. Dexter never tore a bicep or a pec or a quad, or you never saw his lower lats, disappearing. But, these guys aren't that old. This shouldn't be happening to all these guys. Mark, the money was getting better in the sport late 90s, early 2000s. Jay, Ronnie Gunter getting $1 million contracts. Why did it decline? 2 words, social media. So companies used to give these guys tons and tons of money to do basically nothing, just have their pictures in their ads, and they maybe had to stand at their booth at the expo a couple times a year. Social media comes along, and now you've got guys. You don't have to. These guys back in that era, they were making $100,000, $200,000 or more a year for basically just representing a brand, not doing a whole lot. But now you got guys that are social media stars, influencers. They look great. A lot of them don't even compete, but maybe they have 1 million followers. So if you're a supplement company, you can give this guy or girl, let's say, I don't know, give him like a couple grand a month, give him like 50,000, give him like 30, 50,000 bucks a year, something like that, plus product, plus a discount code so they can make commissions off any supplements they sell with that code. And they'll post every day or even multiple times a day on Instagram, TikTok, all this stuff, and they'll tag the companies, and it just makes a lot more sense for the companies financially. They get more return on their investment versus giving some guy a couple $100,000 and like hoping for the best. This way especially if they're not giving them any money, a lot of them I don't think get money. They just get product and a discount code. So they're basically just working on commission. So if they don't generate any money for the company doesn't have to give them a dime. So if you're a supplement company owner, that's the way to go. Rather than just, throw a couple $100,000 at some guy so he can be a pro athlete and do nothing else. More characters. With Max, kudos to you and Jose bluntly saying that Rami will be outside top 3 after prejudging. Others like NSP, Nick Strength and Power, were doing mental gymnastics to predict Rami would win. I don't know how anybody could have watched that judging and thought Rami was going to win. It was very clear the issues, the things that were suddenly wrong with his physique that weren't wrong before, and the fact that they left him all the way over on the side, never moved him. That is not a good sign, guys. When they leave you on the side, they never move you in the middle, you're not winning. I've never seen somebody left over to a side in any show, amateur, anything, and end up winning the show, ever. Let's see. Alberto Montejo, sometimes I think YouTube absconds y'all's views. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, they're not giving us all the views they're supposed to get. Is Brandon going to AC? I hope so. I haven't heard anything. Arnold should be putting out their list very soon. This is kind of late for them not to have their list out. It's usually out right around now, so I'm going to assume it's probably coming out next week, and I'll have to rush out and do a video immediately with the list. JR, Andrew Jack with hams, glutes, conditioning, and better side poses wins it all. Yeah, so much potential. Andrew Jack is the future. I mean, give him a year, give him 2 years, fills out, fixes those body parts, gets better conditioning. The sky's the limit. Andrew Jack is going to be up way up. Samson too, I agree. Samson's freaking great. When Samson came out for the finals, he was even fuller and still had that tight condition. It was something else. More characters in the mix. I've noticed the bodybuilding gets harder on finals compared to prejudging. Does the body get sharper if you pose a lot the day before? Yeah. I think they're just losing water. They keep eating, but they're not drinking as much, and they're flexing, and they're sweating out the water. So yeah, people usually do tend to look better at the finals. JR says, yeah, water is pushed out and adjustments are made so the athletes look better. Kind of like halftime adjustments in the NFL. Yep. Cesar Guardillo. Nick doesn't pay much attention, to be honest. He's just doing things by the flow. He doesn't need to do much. I mean, he doesn't need to be right. He's got a winning formula. He's got clips from the stage video, and he uses a lot of video clips, and he's got 2 million subscribers. He's got a winning formula, so whatever he's doing is working very, very well. Torso is kind of overpowering. I'm not really sure who you're talking about. Are you talking about Nick Watt? Who are you talking about? Needs work on the arms. Add more characters. I'm not sure who was referring to you. Oh well. Moving on. You're my favorite bodybuilding YouTuber. Thank you, Trailblazer. Your interaction in the chat is A1. Well, that's why we're here. Thank you, Trailblazer. Born in 1982, I'm assuming. I was born in 1969. Oh, about Andrew. Okay. Like he needs more arms? No, his arms are great. All these bodybuilders losing their Christmas tree. I wonder why. Yeah, I mean, you see it in most of their progress pictures, and then they get to the stage and it's gone. I don't know. Mark, I wonder why Arnold didn't try to own the Olympia brand. I would assume he has better financial outcome than Jake would. You mean he's probably got more money than Jake? Yeah. He clearly had no interest, or he would have made a bid for it. I mean, he's got the Arnold Classic. I don't think Arnold really. If he was interested in buying the Olympia, he would have done it by now. Industry standard by far. Well, thank you, JR. I mean, that's what we have live chat for, is to interact, right? So, man, I guess that's... Every time I say goodbye, that's when I get like 10 more questions, but it's 5:20 here on the East Coast. It's dark. This was the shortest day of the year, the winter solstice. Will the Arnold ever match or offer more money than the Olympia? Trailblazer A2? I don't think so. And it's kind of a respect thing to the Olympia. At least in the past it was, where Arnold could have afforded, especially in the old days, he could have afforded to have as much money or more money, prize money in the Olympia. But out of respect to Joe Weider and the Mr. Olympia contest, he did not. I don't know what the story is now. The Arnold is under different leadership. The Lormer's doing it, Jim Lormer, God rest his soul, he passed away. Bob Lormer, they don't have anything to do with promoting the show anymore, so yeah, tough to say. More characters for the mix. This Olympia has taught me to never pay attention or get excited by progress pics on Instagram. You end up looking like a fool basing predictions on the progress pics. Yeah, and I mean, our predictions, those of us making predictions usually end up looking like morons too, because like we predicted people to win and they placed poorly, and people that we weren't talking about end up placing really well. So yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. We've been here a while. Appreciate you watching so much. Again, please subscribe, like, do all that stuff. Merry Christmas, Ron. Love you. Merry Christmas, guys. Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is you celebrate. Yeah. So that's it. I appreciate you guys watching so much. Take care of yourselves. If I don't do another one of these before Christmas, for those of you who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. I'm sure I'll be back before New Year's. We got a few more days before that. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Talk to you later.